In John chapter 14, Jesus, in his final days with his disciples, he's talking about his followers' relationship with God through Christ. And in verse 11 of John chapter 14, Jesus says, "Believe in me that I am in the Father and the Father is in me. But if you do not, then believe me because of the works themselves." One of the things that Tom Swade has just said to me moments ago, sitting on the other side of this camera, when I asked the question I did yesterday about who is Jesus to you, and just in case you couldn't watch my sermon yesterday, the four things that I say about Jesus are that he's my Savior, he saves me from my sins and forgives me, he is the Lord of my life, he is the one to whom I give ultimate allegiance and devotion above every other allegiance and devotion, that he is my teacher who teaches me how to live as a member of God's family, and he's my faithful, unwavering friend who's always there for me. That's who Jesus is to me. Savior, Lord, teacher, and friend. Tom, being a faithful and devoted and well-informed Catholic, I'll also mention that to him, Jesus is the second member of the Trinity and consubstantial with the Father. And I teased him that that's kind of a mouthful, and I think an unchurched person, if he said, "Who is Jesus to me?" He's consubstantial with the Father and the second member of the Trinity. That might not communicate quite as clearly with an unchurched person, but ironically, Tom's answer ties in exactly with what Jesus is saying in John 14, because he's saying, "Believe in me that I am in the Father and the Father is in me." That's exactly what Tom meant when he said that Jesus is consubstantial with the Father. But it's interesting to me that Jesus recognizes that that kind of belief is difficult for many people, including his disciples. This idea that Jesus is in the Father and the Father is in Jesus. And so he says, but if you don't get that, then believe me because of the works themselves. In other words, look at what Jesus has done. And in John's Gospel, by the time we get to chapter 14, what has Jesus done? Well, he's turned water into wine at a wedding in Cana of Galilee. He's healed people who were sick. He's fed a multitude of 5,000 plus people with a few loaves and a couple fish. And he's even in his greatest sign, after restoring sight to a man who was born blind, he's raised Lazarus from the dead. So when Jesus says, believe the works themselves, he's saying, how can you look at everything that I have done, that's so miraculous and amazing, and not believe that I am who I say I am? I am the one who has come down from heaven to give life to the world. I pray you will believe that.